Guys, good morning. Happy Friday. It's Daryl here at 6 a.m. bright and early here in Connecticut on the East Coast. It's also a rainy Friday. Don't be surprised if I get dripped on here. All right, first of all, I want to apologize for not making a video yesterday. I promised myself I never know what I'm going to say once the video starts rolling. I promised myself I wasn't going to say this, but the truth is I locked myself out of the house. I only have one set of keys where I'm staying with my family for a month. And just as I shut the door to go outside and read a book, I'd sit out on the porch, I realized I didn't have my keys and I heard it click. And nobody was going to be home for like 3 hours. So my plans did not go as I thought yesterday. Okay, seriously, I might title this video something along the lines of radical leftists want to take away our right to run with scissors. I don't know if I'm going to title it that yet, but I think you guys understand what I'm getting at. I'm going to talk about a New York Post article by somebody called Glenn Reynolds, and it's about alcohol. And in this article, this guy is basically saying that risky behavior or alcohol more as an example, getting drunk, going to bars, getting a buzz on, is beneficial to our society. And that the radical Maoist leftists want to take this away and everything else. And I thought it was kind of coincidental, too, that they're talking about this right before the 4th of July, a big drinking holiday. You know, I could see where they're going with this. You know, the radical leftists want to take away our God-given right to get sloshed on, you know, this American holiday. As I read this article, it made me mad in the fact that there were just flat out lies in this article. Look, honestly, you know, I'm a recovering addict and alcoholic. I will never drink again. Well, let me put that more succinctly. Just for today, I will not drink or use drugs. Those of you in recovery will know exactly what I'm saying. But I've not had a sip of beer, anything, in over 14 and a half years. But that doesn't mean, if anybody else wants to drink, a lot of people, you know, some people have addictive personalities, some don't. Some people can drink, you know, and enjoy it and have a great time. And there's no part of me that wants to infringe on any of that. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, affecting anybody else, hurting, endangering other people with your drinking, I could not care less. You know, what you want to drink, how much you want to drink, or whatever. It's your deal. But in this, what makes me angry about this article is just the pure bull that it is. He starts out by talking about what he's saying in this article is that alcohol, yeah, it's got some bad effects like wife beating and drunk driving and violence and all that. But hey, it's got more good effects. And our namby-pamby leftist society wants to take this away from us. That's generally the gist of what he's saying, but the untruths of what he talks about in this article, he tries to use the examples of, say, Silicon Valley, and he says Silicon Valley, the engineers in Silicon Valley love whiskey bars, that they routinely go to whiskey bars when they become stumped on an engineering problem. Somehow I doubt that. He talks about the prefrontal cortex and how alcohol affects that. This is what he actually says. The links will all be down below, so you can read this yourselves. He says it kind of induces a childlike wonder and open-mindedness that is good for creativity. The fact of the matter is that the prefrontal cortex, I'm not a doctor here, but it directly affects reasoning, decision-making, problem-solving. Any drink, like the body can handle up to 1 ounce, the liver can handle up to 1 ounce of alcohol every hour. Anything more than that, and these things start to get affected. Your memory, your decision making, and so on. In this article, though, he's painting it as alcohol is a needed social lubricant. It's perfect for creativity and problem solving, and he talks about one of his buddies who's an author, and how this guy has a couple glasses of bourbon, and he calls it a column starter. Like, well, that's when he starts writing. You know, I can just think of Hemingway. Wasn't he an alcoholic and died by suicide, I think, right? Anyway, so in this article, he's doing a lot of people, especially people that have drinking problems or will have drinking problems in the future, he's doing them a disservice by talking up alcohol like it's a great thing. It makes people creative and open-minded, and a social lubricant, and it brings people together. I mean, the fact of the matter is, like I said, I'll have other articles to dispute what he's saying down below, and it doesn't take a scientist, or genius, or a doctor to figure out what I'm talking about here. But drinking alcohol a lot of times too, it lowers inhibitions, and it also people misread social cues. It leads to violence. I hung out in bars for 2-3 decades, and what this guy is saying is just complete nonsense and claptrap. But the thing that bothers me the most is he's trying to paint this like it's just one more thing that the radical leftists are trying to take away. Being a leftist myself, like I said, this is nothing. None of this is true. All the people I know and hang around with are liberal, progressive Democrats, and not one of them has any problems with Humpty Dumpty or Dr. Seuss or alcohol or whatever. Okay, another thing in this article, he talks about how raising children, and that they should be more free to run around and not have protective services called on the parents. He says, better a broken arm than a broken spirit. Well, coming from somebody who broke his arm after a couple drinks back when I was 18, making a stupid I had 2 beers and I made a stupid decision. This article is complete nonsense, but again, it just feeds into this whole thing, this fear mongering, and victimization, that the right is just, the victims of all this Americana is being taken away from us. Okay, so one of the examples too in this article, he talks about a paddleboarder in California being arrested for not wearing a mask. Now, I thought about that, and that's awfully silly. I mean, it's downright stupid. So I had to look this up. In this article, right down below, he talks about a paddleboarder being arrested for being maskless. It's completely untrue. The fact of the matter is, the paddleboarder he's talking about, I think it was in Santa Monica last summer, he went out there. The beach was closed because of COVID-19. Around here, the beaches get closed a lot because of bacteria and other reasons. But the beach is closed, it's closed. It's for safety purposes. So anyway, this guy ignored the beach being closed, first of all. And he went out, and it took 30 minutes. He just ignored them paddling out there, ignoring their commands, their pleas, and everything to come back in. And eventually, he was brought in and arrested. It had absolutely nothing to do with a mask. Like, again, the links will all be down below. So what this author in this New York Post article, half the stuff he's talking about the prefrontal cortical, the part of the brain that having a few drinks will make you more childlike and open-minded, when in fact it affects your balance, your memory. It makes you more aggressive, less able to read social cues between the people you're with. In this article, he talks about how it's like a bond. It creates a bond between Americans where we can discuss democracy and patriotism, when in fact, it is nothing of the sort. Like I said, I am not against alcohol in any way, shape, or form. If people want to drink, that is their business. I have no problem with it. Me being in recovery has no bearing on this. It's just this article is full of misleading statements and downright lies. Okay, now getting to the Chipotle thing. Just recently, the right has been fuming because their burritos are more expensive. Because how dare Chipotle actually pay their workers, I hesitate to call it a living wage, I don't know if it's $15 an hour, but Chipotle has chose to raise the prices of their products. They could have taken away some of the executive bonuses and all their perks and all that, but they chose to charge you guys and me more per burrito. This is what it comes down to. This is the truth. They've raised their prices 4%. An average burrito at Chipotle costs $7.50. 4% that's 30 cents. The right wing is crying and complaining over 30 cents on a burrito, a quarter and a nickel, so that the workers at Chipotle could actually manage to pay their rent and not rely on food cards and government handouts and help the way it should be. All right, I've got so much more to talk about. I need to talk about Trump Jr. complaining about how the indictment against Trump Incorporated is so much like Russia and China, what Russia and China do. I can't wait to talk about this. That's my next video. I'll be back. You guys have a great Friday.